You're here to honor the men and women who have served in our U.S. military, and it is a time to honor those that have passed on. So I'm thankful that all of you are here. I'm thankful for your service. I am very grateful, and so are all of we at Sonora Elementary. So without any further ado, would you please stand for the presentation of our color guard by Staff Sergeant Quesada, Sergeant Whitcomb, and Specialist Lockwood. Two of these men have students here, Bradley Lockwood and Hunter and Kenley Whitcomb. Please stand for the presentation of the guard. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing as the color guard puts the flags in their assigned spots. Remain standing as fourth grader Madeline Conkle sings the national anthem. Fifth grader, my apologies.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad strides and bright stars through the perilous sky? Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang loud, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
You may be seated. Honor Choir will now perform America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty.
During this next portion of our assembly, we're going to honor our veterans. During the slideshow, each of the 5 branches of the military's hymn, fight song, or just song will be played. If you are in that branch, would you please stand and be recognized as your song is played?
Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Tap we die, starting a fade from under, off with one terrible roar. We live in flame, we go down in flame, hey, nothing can stop the U.S. Air Force. Over hill, over dell, we have hit the dusty trail, and those caissons go rolling along. Come on, your numbers, but it's strong. 2, 3, 4, and where we go, you will always know that those caissons are rolling along. Acres away, my boys. Our last night ashore, acres away, until we meet once more. Here's wishing you a happy voyage home. We're always ready for the call. We place our trust in thee. Through surf and storm and happy will, I shall our purpose be. Semper is our guide, our faith, our glory too. To fly, to save, or fight and die, I trust God we are for you. From the halls of Montezuma, first to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marines.
Let's give our servicemen and women one more round of applause. Give it a
You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the anthem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true in the red, white, and blue, where there's never a ghost or frown. Let your all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Why don't you join us? one more time.
You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true in the red, white, and blue, where there's never a post or friend. But let all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Ladies, please. At this time, Ms. Schuster, a first grade teacher, will share the history of taps, followed by the playing of taps by Gabriel Mejia, a Springdale High School student.
For the kids out there, there's a very special song that is played. I can't even start. Anytime a military veteran loses his life. This song is called Taps. There is one horn player that plays a song. There's no singing. It's a very quiet, calm song. And this is the history of why this song is played at every military funeral, at any time a veteran loses his life. We've all heard the haunting melody of taps. It's the song that gives us the lump in our throats and usually tears in our eyes. But do many of us know the history behind this song? I didn't know the history until I was given this piece of paper. It all goes back to the Civil War. And boys and girls, during the Civil War, there were no telephones, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram. When a boy and a man went to fight for what they believed in, they were gone for a very long time. It would be months before anybody heard from a father, a brother, or son, an uncle, or a cousin. Back in 1862, during the Civil War, when the Union Army, they were the North. When the Union Army captain, Robert Ellicombe, was with his men near Harrison's Landing, Virginia, the Confederate Army, the people fighting for the South, was on the other side of a narrow strip of land. They were very close to each other. During the night, Captain Ellicombe heard the moans of a soldier who was severely wounded in the field. All he could hear was the crying. He couldn't see the person. All he could hear was the tears and the crying because the man was hurt so badly. Not knowing if it was a Union or Confederate soldier, he didn't know if this person would help him or if this person was there to hurt him too. Captain Ellicombe didn't care. In the dark of the night, the man decided to risk his life. He could have been hurt going to save this person. He put that aside because he heard how hurt this person was. He decided to risk his life and bring the stricken man back for medical attention. He didn't care if this person was on his side or not. He took him back to where he could get him some help. Crawling on his stomach through the gunfire, the captain reached the stricken soldier and began pulling him back toward his encampment. That means back where he could get him some help, back to his base, where he knew the doctors. When the captain finally reached his own lines, he discovered it was a Confederate soldier. So the person he saved was fighting on the other side. But the soldier had passed away. The captain lit a lantern and suddenly caught his breath. So he used a candle, he turned on the light, and he used a candle so he could see who this Confederate soldier was. Now remember, I told you they didn't get to talk to their family members. When he saw who that soldier was, he went numb with shock. He couldn't believe it. In the dim light, he saw the face of the soldier. It was his own son. The boy had been studying music in the South when the war broke out. Without telling his father, the boy enlisted in the Confederate Army. That would be the side that his dad wasn't fighting for. He chose the other side from his dad. The following morning, heartbroken, the father asked permission to give his son a full military burial, despite him being fighting for the other side. Because he was proud that his son believed that would fight in what he believed in. His request was partially granted. They said, we'll give him a military burial, but we're not going to do all the flags and all the music and all the singing that they would give a Union Army man. The captain asked if he could have a group of Army band members play a funeral dirge or song for his son at the funeral. The request was denied. They said, no, you can't have the big band. We will give you one player. And they did that because the man was such high ranking. He was so high in the Union. They gave him one musician. The captain chose a bugler. He asked the bugler to play a series of musical notes he had found on a piece of paper in the pocket of the dead youth's uniform. So the music you will hear is the music that boy carried in his pocket the day that he passed away. The wish was granted. The haunting melody, which we now know as taps, is used at all military funerals. The words that go along to it: day is done, fading light thanks and praises. Gone the sun dims the sight for our days. From the lakes and a star neath the sun, from the hills gems the sky neath the stars. From the sky gleaming bright neath the sky, all is well. From afar as we go, safely rest, drawing nigh, this we know. God is nigh, falls the night, God is nigh.
Yes, that concludes our Veterans Day Assembly. I need you to give these veterans a huge round of applause. Thank you for doing what you've done and continue to do. We appreciate each and every one of you. Students, you may be dismissed. Veterans, parents, if you want to have a seat for a moment and let them get out, that would be great. Honored bride, you can have a seat, please.